Okay, well, welcome to this edition of Friday Focus. Dr. Butler here. I just want to reach out to you all. When I was driving into the office this afternoon, it was kind of the appropriate thing as I turned the radio on in my car. And if you're older like me, you remember a band by the name of the Go-Go's. And back in the early 80s, they wrote a song called Vacation. And it was all about vacation and, you know, what a great time of the year it is to take a vacation. And now that we're rolling into August, it just kind of reminds me of how people sometimes think when it comes to these vacations. We all get so excited for them. My family and I, we just returned. We were at the shore for a week and we had a great time. It was beautiful weather. Created some great memories, and I hope that, that you do as well this summer. But it reminded me of how fast time goes by. So in other words, the week went by so incredibly quick that before I knew it, I was back here at the office. And as we're rolling into August, you know, August is probably the biggest vacation month of the year, and many of you hopefully will be going away and enjoying some time either by yourself or with family members or friends. But I kind of think about vacations in terms of planning. And you know, when we want to have a great vacation, we want to make sure that we plan the vacation the right way. So we spend a lot of time researching it, making sure we have the right, you know, week that we're going away, the right place that we're going to stay in, travel arrangements, etc. And that theme of planning I want to kind of play into as we get towards the end of summer. Because when you get this video, we might only have 2 or 3 weeks left before we get to September. And as you know, if you have kids like I do, that's when the school year starts. So we have always promoted to our patients the fact that when September hits, you want to plan for having a healthy fall. So we always say that back to school typically means back to stress. So for example, it's not just people that have kids that are affected, it's people that work at schools, it's grandparents that are helping with their grandkids, it's more people on the roads. There's a million ways to kind of think about it, but everybody gets affected when school starts. And typically what we see is that the stress levels go up. And what I want you to be prepared for is how to have a very healthy fall. So not just for the teachers or the kids or the parents, pretty much anybody that wants to have a healthy fall, they need to take some time to plan, almost like we plan our vacations. We want to take some time to kind of plan ahead or in advance. So we have a couple of interesting things. Number one is ways to reduce stress in your life. So number one would be mental stress. So mental stress is going to go up as we get to the end of summer and we're going into fall. And so how do you deal with mental stress? Well, if you have the ability to find time alone, time to write things down, what we find is that people that write down what's causing their stress and then write down solutions to those stress, those are the kinds of people that can overcome stress better than those who don't. So if you have kids and you're dealing with a schedule change, if your employment is changing in the fall, you want to write those things down that are causing you stress and then write down possible solutions. What we find is that just the act of writing those things down have a tremendous ability to de-stress us. Another thing is to take up hobbies, take up things that are productive. Stress can be overwhelming, and so when we focus too much on stress, it can run us down. So when we get back to school, there's so much going on that people's immune systems have a tendency to get run down. So make sure you know, have a plan to deal with stress. Another thing is the chemical component. So we have emotional or stress, we have chemical. So if you want to plan ahead, most people during the summer, they're actually, it's kind of party mode for a lot of people, and so they kind of throw caution to the wind, and maybe they're going out more, they're eating out more, they're partying more, they're doing those things. So when we're eating or drinking or anything that we can put inside of our body has a chemical effect on us. And so what we want to do is plan to help to reduce some of the chemical stresses that we are under. A couple ways to do that is to make sure that you drink more water. Water has a purifying effect on the body, helps to cleanse our body. Another thing is to eat more organically. And I'm not saying that you have to be organic when you eat. What I'm saying is try to eat more things that are live things, plants, fruits, vegetables, things of that nature, because they're loaded with antioxidants and things that will help to purify our body and keep our chemical stresses minimized. And then maybe cut out a few things. So what are some of the things that maybe you forgot since the spring that you were doing that were the good things to do? And what are some of the bad habits that we all eventually fall into those bad habits sometimes. So, is it eating more ice cream with your kids, or is it, maybe going out to happy hour? Maybe some of those things you can cut out and have a little bit of discipline. And then the physical health, and this is kind of what I want to touch on today, is that all three of these things, physical, chemical, and emotional, all three of them are part of who we are. So we're not just physical beings, right? We're emotional and chemical beings as well. And all three of those, I use the example of the Olympic circles and how they overlap. So you have physical, chemical, and emotional. And where they overlap is your central nervous system. It's your body's ability to regulate itself. So physically, you want to try and get moving. We had a big campaign this year for our patients where we wanted you to get outside and do more stuff outside. We called it 1,000 hours outside. And there are new research studies that are coming out showing the benefits of that. So we want you to get outside, get moving. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about physically, about the stress that you have on your spine and nervous system. And so when you go into the fall, one of the best ways to help keep your physical health, emotional health, and chemical health balanced is to make sure that your spine and your spinal nerves are working the right way, because they have to coordinate all of the different stresses that your body is under. And what we find is that patients, and this is over many years now, patients that increase their visits to the office, or at the very least maintain their visits to the office, by keeping their spinal health in check, they resist sickness and disease better than people that don't. And we have hundreds of testimonials about that. So as we come out of summer and we're going into the fall, I want to let you know to be prepared. It's coming. There's always an increase in stress as we're dealing with the kids going back to school. And even, like I said, you don't have kids that are going into school. It will affect you. There will be more traffic. You will be late for appointments. There will be distractions. It seems as if it's universal when this happens. So I want you to focus on those things. If you're a teacher or you work in a school system, what I want you to know is that it's super, super important that you maintain your health as well, because I think we see every year that our teachers, and we have so many patients that are teachers by trade, that the level of stress in their lives goes through the roof. It's actually going to start in about a week. That's typically the second week of August is when they start to really feel it. When you start to feel it emotionally, it's going to then affect you physically. If you need to, come on in, increase your care in the office. It'll help you to get through this time a lot easier, and you'll truly have a very healthy and happy fall. So that's my tip for this week's Friday Focus, is to plan ahead, to be vigilant about being intentional about planning your health for the fall, and especially if you're a teacher, make sure that you get in and get your treatments, okay? So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.